Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com, your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now.
You guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
What? Do what?
Let the dogs out. You know, like, who let the dogs out? Who?
Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com, your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. Always available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Always available wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Oh, yeah. Amanda, that's what I'm talking about. Can you hear me okay, Amanda?
Yeah.
Are you digging the music?
It's a lot. Unexpectedly.
Yeah, well, I like to surprise you. So, the things you don't know about, look at you dancing. You're digging the music.
It's not like the YouTube, like, terrible, like,
The chill pop
songs.
Chill pop. We thank our friends at Gran Torino for allowing us to use their music. If you like Gran Torino or this podcast, please stop and hit that subscribe and like button. Will show up on your feed more often. And boy, are we loaded today. So hit the subscribe and like button. On the program today, we got a little bit of Jacob Warren talking about some standout players in Tennessee's first scrimmage, Tennessee's first week of practice. We've got Cooper Mays. How did Cooper Mays get the name Cooper? That is an interesting story that was told before. Amanda, do you know the story?
Yes.
Okay. But I'm going back in time a little bit because we did some of these interviews a long time ago. But I think it's a very funny story. And then we'll look back on the scrimmage. That was Tuesday. And depending on where you're listening, when you're listening, that could have been yesterday. But we'll talk about the scrimmage, Tennessee scrimmage. But first, good morning, Amanda LaFratta. How are you?
Good morning, Dave. I am doing well. How are you this morning?
I'm well. And by the way, for those listening, we do get started at 8:30 now. If you can adjust your clocks, we'd greatly appreciate that. And we'll be with you up until 10 o'clock. Also on the program today, we'll visit with the gentleman who covers the Florida Gators. And we'll talk to him and get his thoughts on that goofy point spread that still just does not make a whole lot of sense. The 5.5. You're a better gambler than me, Amanda. Where would you have put it again?
I don't know if I would say I'm a better gambler. I'm just a more experienced gambler. So I mean, I think they have it right on the money, to be honest. I think they've done their due diligence and they have it right on the money.
All right, so we've got it's a Winnie Wednesday. We've got a lot of stuff to give away. Looking forward to that from Alice Nest Barbecue, from Craft Treats, from how about a Hooker shirt that we will be able to give away on the program today. So looking forward to that. So we're going to send out messages throughout the program, but you can go ahead if you want to and message us here and we'll get back in touch with you. And we will pick one lucky contestant that will win a Hooker shirt. And you can go with the heather gray, you can go with the orange, the white, or the black. So got a lot to choose from, sizes, the whole 9 yards, and we'll take care of you. Also, we've got prizes to give away from our friends at Craft Treats. We've got prizes to give away from our friends at Alice Nest Barbecue. So a lot going on. Go ahead and get on board now. The sooner you give us your thoughts on what's happening in the sports world, the sooner we can pick some winners. And we're going to do that because it is a winning Wednesday. All right, let's get off and rolling. It's the down and dirty at 8:30. Let's start with Tennessee's scrimmage yesterday. Amanda, the news coming out of the scrimmage that, yes, there is a competition at left tackle. Darnell Wright will play right tackle. Jabari Small, I'm hearing, may end up locking down that lion's share. I hate saying first team, and you pointed that out yesterday with two. Everybody runs two running backs now, but he might be the lion's share guy based off what I've heard yesterday. Now, Justin Williams-Thomas, I think, still has more physical ability. Struggling a little bit with the swing passes, I've been told, catching the ball out of the backfield. Also struggling a little bit with his top end speed. And I think this offense is going to lean towards speed. And the Dylan Sampsons of the world, Jabari Smalls of the world are faster than Justin Williams Thomas, who may be a better overall back. So that's a couple of notes out of scrimmage. Jeremy Banks had a big interception. You can follow this at offthehooksports.com. And another great piece at offthehooksports.com I want to encourage you to check out is a piece that Amanda did. And I won't do it due diligence if I describe it. So you go for it. And basically every point you made was absolutely correct. Tennessee, and I talked to some more people in the media yesterday, not being ranked was a very big surprise. Not being in that 18 to 20, 21, 22 range was a big surprise. But talk about your column and what you laid out for people, because I thought it was good stuff.
So I just took a look at 3 different teams that were in the top 25 that I thought maybe not. And I did like a dive into who they were returning, what they were expecting out of the season, who they lost from last season, and their transfers and who they were transferring in. And 3 of these teams, I was just like, Tennessee's going to be better than these 3. Like they're going to be better than these 3.
When they're favored over already.
Yeah, they're favored over someone already.
So I don't know how they can't be ranked, but the 3 teams.
I don't know. Pittsburgh, Texas, and what's the last one? Just did this. Ole Miss. Sorry, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. No shots at Lane Kiffin fired, who, by the way, had some interesting comments that we're going to get to. But I think Tennessee is better than all of those teams.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anything could happen with an Ole Miss because of the offense they run that is very similar, but in that it scores a lot of points. It's not really a similar offense. But, I mean, anything can happen in that sort of game. But Lane Kiffin, by the way, said Tuesday that when he met with reporters, he said he gave a little update on where Ole Miss stands at this point in fall camp. He said, quote, "I think we're probably close. The variables being all the new guys, so probably not where we would want to be normally, but you do have to take that into consideration." Man, can he just whine and gripe and gripe and gripe. So the money and resources aren't there for Lane Kiffin to match an Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. Use the richest programs in the SEC. And so he can't go out and buy players NIL-wise like other schools can. Maybe they're not. Who knows? But he can take in the transfer portal. And he is just so transparent, Amanda. He's harping about half of the players could be new players with this new transfer portal thing. That's all well and good, Amanda. But he's saying that to say the transfer portal is craziness and something needs to change about the NIL. I think that's his end-all spin. So he's basically like one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Jack Nicholson is like, I'm just going to be as crazy as I can be. If you've called me crazy, then I'm going to be crazy. So that's what Lane Kiffin's doing. He's being crazy with the transfer portal.
Well, didn't he already call out the NIL? I was pretty sure that he already said it was like going to ruin college football.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with that. But what he said to the media is very telling, because no coach comes out and says, well, we got a lot of new guys, so we're not looking exactly like what I thought we'd be looking like, and we're not looking as great as everyone is telling us that we look or that they're expecting from us. So I don't know. Like, I think that maybe we won't be as good this year. I mean, literally, what coach comes out and says that?
Yeah, I love how Lane Kiffin, it's generally not a good thing to say. You want to lower expectations. But I also have to love, Amanda, how Lane Kiffin comes out and says that he's not sure who the starting quarterback will be. Of course, they had a transfer from Southern California. And that the way they played previously has no impact on whether or not they will play at Ole Miss. Come on. You don't go out and get a dude at quarterback from Southern California, to come in and sit the bench for 3 years. It has an impact. He will receive early first-team practice snaps. Come on, Lane. Come on.
Yeah, he's not giving anything away, but I also see and kind of feel the disappointment in his words because he's not a happy Kiffin right now. He is not a happy Kiffin.
Not a happy Giffen. Okay, I can take that. And then Saturday down south, before some national news came out with their top 25 players, which is interesting. I think, yes, it is a list, and Amanda and I have grown very tired of lists. But who do you think is number one on the Saturday down south list of top players in the SEC? Has to be the Heisman guy, right?
I would say it's Will Anderson. I mean, I haven't looked at the list actually, and I would hope it would be Will Anderson because he's the best player in the country, to be honest. But who knows?
Yeah, I would take Will Anderson, but they took Bryce Young. Now, this is a national. I think I misspoke. This is a national list. So after that, C.J. Stroud of Ohio State, Caleb Williams of USC, and then Spencer Rattler of Southern California, and then you have
no
Grayson McCall of Coastal Carolina. What?
Spencer Rattler is South Carolina.
What did I say?
Southern California again.
No, the other USC. So in the end, I'm looking at this list, and I know the idea is to create talk, and these are the top 25 quarterbacks in college football, but I don't know that Spencer Rattler is number 5. Do you?
No. Okay, so this is a list of top 25 quarterbacks. Okay, you said players. I was so confused.
My apologies. I did misspeak. So where do you think Hendon Hooker came?
Honestly, they put Spencer Rattler at 5.
Yes, and I'll just give you a hint. He's way above Hooker.
Really?
I wouldn't lie to you.
So if he's way above Hooker, I'm going to go Hooker at 22.
Ooh, not bad. He's not quite that far off. So let's go down the rest of the list as far as the SEC guys. So you had Spencer Rattler, as I mentioned, is number 4 at South Carolina. And then you go down the list. KJ Jefferson of Arkansas is at number 8. We keep rolling through the SEC, and then we get to, we're at 12. Will Levis of Kentucky. Would you take Hendon Hooker or Will Levis right now?
Hendon Hooker. I'd take Hendon Hooker.
I would too. And then you have Hendon Hooker at number 14.
Isn't Will Levis the one that puts mayo in his coffee?
Yes.
Ew.
Not good? Not good.
It's disgusting.
By the way, the place you need to go to get your coffee is Honey Bee Coffee. Tell us about Honey Bee Coffee. You're drinking a cup right now. They've got locations that are all over Knoxville, but you can also order online. So simply go to their website. It's all over our page. You can click on offthehooksports.com and go and find their website, but just go straight to them. It's easy enough to Google Honeybee Coffee and you will find it. But you can order all the coffee there, and you do the coolest thing. You order like once a month and you grind your beans, and it's the top 5% of beans in the world, and then you're good in coffee for the month. So that's pretty strong.
Yeah. Speaking of strong, coffee strong. It is veteran owned. It is, like you said, top 5% of beans in the world. So go to the bees and not the bucks.
Go to the bees and not the bucks. I love that. She makes it up. She's a marketing whiz. All right. So some more things that we wanted to get to from a national perspective is Serena Williams announcing her retirement. And it was almost like, because she may have won a major pregnant, she came back and won another major after she was pregnant. I think we just assumed that she was going to play tennis until she was 80. That's not really possible to do. It is one of the finest careers. And we saw Bill Russell pass away. I think he's the best team athlete as far as success in the history of United States athletics. But if you'll take an individual, she's right up there. Now, she's going to be one short, it looks like, of winning the overall most majors in her career. But that was Mary Quarter, I believe is how you pronounce her name. And she was able to make the trip to Australia a lot when a lot of the great players, I mean, this is back in the 60s, a lot of the great players didn't make that trip. So like half of hers are the Australian Open. So when you really look and you compare and contrast, there's no doubt that she is the greatest women's tennis player in the history of man. And then Rafael Nadal has 22 Grand Slam titles. Serena has 23. So we really have seen something incredibly unique here in the run of tennis. With Serena Williams, I'm not a big movie guy, but I'm a movie guy if it kind of feels like a documentary. And the whole Chris Rock getting slapped thing, that, Will Smith won an Oscar that night for King Richard. Have you seen that movie?
No, it looked good, but I haven't seen it.
Astonishingly good. Like, astonishingly good. Like, the dad basically says, I'm handling this, and I love you to death, but my kids aren't going to play in these little pro-ams around the place because it just runs their body down and they're not going to play. Meanwhile, this coach has invested millions in them to live in this home in Florida, and he's paying them, and he has to wait 3 years for them to finally turn pro. But the coolest part, spoiler alert, is at the very end, he puts his arm, because Serena plays a very small part in it. It's mostly about Venus. So he puts his arm around Serena, and he goes, I know this is hard for you watching Venus win. He said, but this is my plan all along. I get chills just thinking about this. My plan all along was you're going to be the greatest of all time. And that was like the closing scene. Sorry, spoiler alert. But it's a phenomenal movie. One of the best sports movies I've seen. I mean, really, probably top 10, but there's a lot of good sports movies. And then the Live Tour, we got news that they're not going to be able to take part in the FedEx Cup. Well, good.
Good for them. Yep. Good for that judge to come down and say, you know what, you have not proven that you've been, wrongly, I don't know what the word is, but that this has harmed you financially or anything. And you knew the risk going in, you knew that this was against PGA rules. And so we're not going to come out and support, like, it's not going to fly. And I appreciated that.
Agreed. I want to get to Cooper Mays and why he's called Cooper. But first, I did want to address this, not from the perspective of whether or not he's guilty or innocent so much, Amanda, but now you have Roger Goodell saying that based off of his findings and what he determined through the third-party investigator, that, Amanda, he thinks a season suspension is very much in line. Whether or not he did it, to all that, I'm kind of beyond that point. I'm to the point, why is the NFL doing this dog and pony show of having a third-party arbitrator when ultimately they make the ultimate decision anyway? I mean,
so it doesn't come down on their shoulders.
But it does anyway. I mean, it's just, but I don't know. Just give a clear answer. Don't drag this thing on. The NFL is so good in PR. They've turned it into a 12-month-a-year sport with free agency and the draft and reporting to camp. And they've done so good with PR. But it is almost like they completely go numbskull when it's discipline issues. It's just as if they have zero idea what they're doing.
They're trying to ride both sides of the fence. Like, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, basically, which is a dumb saying, but they're trying to appease both sides, but without taking any of the blame.
That is
for whatever.
That is the dumbest thing ever. But I used it like 3 days ago with my
daughter. It's so stupid.
With my daughter's birthday. My wife said, I was like 3 a.m. I was like, I want a piece of cake. And my wife said, hey, well, we're out of cake. I said, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That was the first time in my 38 years on this planet that I've used that saying. Have you ever used that saying once in your life?
Well, I just did. So.
I mean, that just does that make sense to you? No.
No, it doesn't make sense. Of course, it doesn't make sense. It's like I think it's something for some reason. I think it's something from Marie Antoinette or something. That's what I've heard. But or she says, "Let them eat cake." I don't know. It's something from that. But it's just like, why do you have cake if you're not going to eat it? What's the point in having the cake? Like, you can't have the cake and the ice cream, maybe. So you'd have to pick a dessert. But if you have the cake, what are you gonna do with the cake? You're supposed to eat the cake.
Oh, I'm down. I have no issue with it. Feet down and dirty at 30. Brought to you by Vassy Lawn and Garden. They're not afraid to get dirty with their mowers, edgers, and trimmers. That's Vassy Lawn and Garden in Cleveland. Man alive, it's worth the drive. Toro, count on it. So we've got today's tough question coming up. But first, if you could be named after any one athlete, who would it be?
Ooh.
For everybody's named Jordan now. I mean, not now, but was. There was like a lot of Jordans. I like how people say it's not because Michael. Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you could
one athlete.
If you could be named after one athlete, I've got Amanda thinking, and that's my goal. Cooper, not Manning, but Mays. Talk to us about how he got his first name. And let's just say Cooper Manning had the hots for Cooper Mays' mom.
Still can't find a picture of her.
Sounds weird to say that. I'm sure she's lovely. She lives right there. She lives in Knoxville. We'll go find her. We'll just go to their house.
I think that'd be weird. Just be like, hey.
Nah, Kevin knows me. Kevin and I have a good time. We throw down. Here is Cooper Mays, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. 50 years. That means integrity. That's why they're there. cityheatandair.com.
Because I guess so. My dad was a senior when Peyton was a freshman, and all the families kind of wait outside the tunnel after the game to meet their siblings or their son or their whatever. And I guess so when my mom was standing there waiting, Cooper went up to his mom and was like, "I'm going to marry that girl. What's her name?" And of course, Peyton's mom was like, "Oh, well, she's kind of taken, whatever." And she came up and told my mom about it, and she was like, I like that name. I'm going to name my kid that. So here I am.
So who is going to marry who? Help me make sure that I understand it.
Cooper Manning told his mom that he had found, like, he saw the girl that he was going to marry, and that was my mom. So based off of, I guess based off of looks, that was what spurred the comment on. And then Miss Manning came over to my mom and told her, and she was like, basically what she got out of it was she wanted the name. I guess not the guy.
I gotcha. So you're named after a guy that happens to be part of the biggest football family at all times and thinks your mom is super good looking.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad we boiled all that down into one little statement.
There's a lot of layers there. It's like an onion.
It's like we could just, I don't want to go any deeper in that onion. The natural follow is your mom hot? But I didn't go there because Cooper's bigger and faster than me. And we've talked about it. Like, if he wanted to beat me up and I ran from him, he probably will run like a 4.95, so maybe 5 flat in the combine. And I probably would run like a 7.5. So he would catch me. He said, "Well, if you can make it longer than 10 yards, I'm not going to chase you." And I said, "Well, I'm not going to make it 10 yards. So as they say in Sevierville, it's a moot point." Today's tough question. Do you have any thoughts of where you want to go on that? I've already thrown some things at you.
You have.
Cameron says you're lovely today, by the way.
No, I think he's talking about Cooper Mays' mom.
Oh, Cameron says, "Oh, she's hot." Okay.
Right. Yeah. We were talking about Cooper Mays'
mom. Too, though. Okay, with all due respect. So everybody's hot here.
Everyone is hot here. That should be our tagline. Everybody's hot here.
Everybody's hot. OffTheHookSports.com. where everybody's hot or semi-hot. And Cameron has said, yes, it is Cooper's mom. But Cameron, is Amanda hot? That's the question.
No, I don't want to. Cameron, please
Cameron
don't.
on the spot? Okay.
No, please don't.
Okay. Well, I'm done. Then I won't do it. All right. It is time for today's tough question as we get an opportunity to go to that. And it is brought to you today by our friends at Pedigo e-bikes of Chattanooga. I got more to tell you about them. It's today's tough question.
We do our research. Have you done your research?
We're working like heck.
Today's tough question. What's the real debate?
You sipping my Supe Guadalupe?
Exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker and Amanda LaFratta.
You drinking my sake, Kimosabi?
Oh my God.
All right, Amanda, today's tough question. That's your department. Cameron says Amanda's a friend. I couldn't think of her that way.
Thank you, Cameron. Thank you.
You could say, you can think a friend.
He dodged that question. He dodged it, and I appreciate that. Right here.
All right. So today's tough question is that we will put on the Twitter and you can vote. All right. What do we got?
So I was going between, we were talking about some movie, I think, earlier. Yeah,
King Richard.
Mm-hmm. What's your which sports movie is the best, and list 4 of them? Or who would you want to name your kid after? What athlete would you name your kid after?
I think they're both gold.
I think I would do sports movie.
Okay, so let's do it this way. So we can get your messages via our fantastic software that works most of the time. And we can get your messages from the Twitter, from the Facebook, from YouTube, I think. So what is your favorite sports movie? Go ahead and type it in, and we'll create the list based off of your input. What is your favorite sports movie, Amanda? Not King Richard for me. Caddyshack's right up there. That's pretty gold.
Tin Cup's really good.
Tin Cup is good. But it's hard for me to watch Kevin Costner in a sports movie that's not Field of Dreams, because Field of Dreams is so good.
Draft Day is really good. I know it's the Browns, but it is a really good movie.
I don't even think I've seen that. Is that a documentary or is that a real movie?
No, Kevin Costner's in it. He plays the GM of the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, so is it based off fact? Or
No, it's basically a Cleveland Browns. You know how for the Browns, they win the Super Bowl. Their Super Bowl every year is the draft.
Yes.
So it is basically them winning their Super Bowl. So them just completely destroying everybody in the draft. But it's really good. And it has Black Panther in it. What's his name? I cried when he died, by the way. Cried.
Oh gosh, yeah. And it's such a terrible deal where he had cancer and oh, it's awful. I can't remember his name. Black Panther, by the way. For people that say, "Oh, I don't watch superhero movies," if you don't watch that one, you're stupid. So let's continue to work on that. Rocky, the highest grossing of all time, and then here, just momentarily, as time gets away from us, we're going to visit with the gentleman who covers the Florida Gators. See if he thinks that the Gators should be 5.5-point favorites. Today's tough question, which we're still massaging, brought to you by Pedigo Chattanooga, locally owned store where you'll be treated like family. The region's foremost electric bike experts. They put their hearts into helping you find the perfect electric bike and get the most out of it for many years to come. That's Pedigo e-bikes in Chattanooga. Back in 2 minutes and talking Gators. Tell me about Big Orange Phillies, Mr. Viles.
Gary Viles here. I want to personally invite you to North Knoxville's newest sports bar and restaurant. It's Big Orange Phillies, located in Black Oak Center. And yes, folks, it's happening in Halls. Big Orange Phillies offers family-friendly environment with homemade meals and the best deli-style subs around. Billiards, darts, jukebox, shuffleboard, and cornhole, and a full bar. We also offer valet parking on weekends and during special events. We even have a covered back patio. It's happening at Big Orange Phillies. We want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
There's Repair.
This is Al's Dish Barbecue Supply, so come on in and see all the different rubs and sauces we have, plus a complete line of Green Mountain grills. Don't be overwhelmed. We have plenty of help so you can produce the best barbecue and amaze your family and friends. Barbecue is America's food. We'll do what we can to bring you all the best products. We're Al's Nest Barbecue, where Chattanooga goes to grill.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassey Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassey, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
It is worth the drive. So momentarily, we're going to talk some Florida Gators as Tennessee is a 5.5-point favorite, apparently, over the Florida Gators, which really surprises me. Now, somebody said Hoosiers as the top sports movie. So Hoosiers is right up there. But Glenn, I'm going to make mad here, and I'm not trying to. Maybe a tad bit overrated.
Oh.
Did you love Hoosiers or did you like Hoosiers? Looks like everybody liked Hoosiers. I don't love Hoosiers. You?
No comment. But I'm gonna put in a Rudy. I feel like people are gonna love that movie.
Well, I mean, I do love that movie, but it's so at times factually inaccurate. It's like you went out there and got 13 sacks in 3 minutes.
Yeah. I Remember the Titans. That's my favorite sports movie.
Remember the Titans is good. All right.
I love Remember the Titans.
Andrew's going to join us now. Andrew does a great job with Gator Country. He covers the Florida Gators, and we certainly appreciate his time. Andrew, how are you, sir? Do we have Andrew? I don't think we have your mic, Andrew. If you can unmute your button, that would be great, and we'll get you right on. He's going to come back, bounce in. Cameron says a tie for me any given Sunday, and the replacements. The replacements, by the way, do you know this, Cameron, was based loosely off of a Tennessee quarterback. Did you know this, Amanda?
No, I knew it was based on a true story.
Yes. Tony Robinson, who was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, which was a huge, huge deal back in the day in '85. We're going to bring Andrew back up here with Gator Country. But, yes, so there was quite a bit of hullabaloo that he is an African-American and Keanu Reeves is white. But that is loosely based off of Tony Robinson. So, Andrew, do we have you now? Do we have you dialed up now? Can you hear us okay? Man, we're still losing Andrew there. But yeah, Cameron, that's a true story. So Amanda, he actually, and I remember watching that game, and I remember Joe Theismann saying there is absolutely no way that the Redskins are going to beat the Cowboys because the Cowboys had a ton of replacement players, or they were called scab players at the time. So they still had the Tony Dorsetts of the world, while the Redskins had just the scrubs. I mean, the scabs is what they called them. And the Cowboys crossed the picket line, several of them. They probably had half their starters or so. And sure enough, Tony Robinson came in the game, much like the movie, throws some moonball pass for a touchdown, Amanda, and beats the Cowboys in a regular season game. And the strike was over after that game. So he had to report back to prison. He was in a prison release program to work. So he had to leave. He had to go back to prison, and then he watched the Redskins actually win the Super Bowl in prison because they won in that strike-shortened season.
That's so awful.
If they hadn't have beaten the Cowboys, they probably wouldn't have made the playoffs. They were like right at 500.
That is so sad.
But instead of Tony Robbins, they go, whoa, Keanu Reeves. Let's try Andrew again. See if we got Andrew in here. Andrew, are you with us? Can we hear you now? I feel like we're close. There is Andrew. Andrew, how are you, sir?
How are you guys?
We are fantastic. Thanks for taking the time. Andrew Spivey joins us from Gator Country. Gator Country has been around for a long, long time, and they cover the Gators as well as anyone. So if you want Florida coverage, especially when Tennessee week rolls around and you're looking at that matchup, Gator Country is the place to go. So keep up the great work. So Andrew made the mistake, though, of telling me that I could just lead with anything. So I'm going to do that. And Andrew, you do great work there, but I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. What should be the biggest concern about Billy Napier? Because at SEC Media Days, every single person I talk to loves them some Billy Napier. But what is the one concern, if you had to pick it out, that he's not the superstar coach that everybody believes he is?
I would say probably that he is his own offensive coordinator, and that in the zone that his quarterback play hasn't been the best at Louisiana. It wasn't. It was never consistent. That would be my biggest concern. Is and he doesn't have a quarterback coach. He's his own quarterback analyst who is his quarterback coach as well. So having those two together, concern. I am another one of those that I am a big fan of Billy Napier. I've been a big fan of Billy Napier. But those would be my two biggest concerns. Is just him, and that's a little bit of kind of what where we're at. We don't like our head coach being the offensive coordinator, and Florida fans definitely don't after Dan.
Yeah, and I know Amanda wants to jump in here, but if you can, because of the recruiting issues that have gone back and forth between Miami and Florida, describe that relationship between the Gators and the Hurricanes, if you can.
It's not good. It's great for college football. Ask you this, Dave, and being up in Tennessee, but I think it's good. Miami and Florida State are all good football teams and don't like each other. I mean, than a rivalry, in my opinion. That's what makes college sports so great, and it's what makes Yankees, Red Sox. We love that. We love to watch them play because they don't. That's how it is. And it hasn't been that way in a while. Manny Dye very good at recruiting. Dan Mullen wasn't very good at recruiting, so they didn't have those battles before that were good. You've had battles with Florida State when Jimbo Fisher was there. Billy Napier and Mario Cristobal, two guys who are really, really good recruiters. Even background that understand how to recruit, and that's two things make college football fun. Got to make it harder to recruit in the state of Florida for sure. And it's going to be interesting to see which one can stand out on top. Cristobal, his biggest concern is he's not the best on coach. Can Billy Napier take advantage of that?
Yeah. So talking about Florida, are they dead set on their starting quarterback, or have you heard rumors that maybe not so much Richardson and maybe we're trending somewhere different?
It's Anthony Richardson's football team. I mean, Jack Miller is a guy who has started to pick up the offense a little bit better, understand the game a little bit better. And then you have Kit who is he's still a freshman who's picking up the game. And then you have Max Brown, who's a freshman. So as far as Anthony Richardson can go, Anthony Richardson's a guy who's taken his time under Mullen, and got in a few snaps here and there. But this team goes as far as to go.
Were you surprised to see Tennessee was a 5.5-point favorite? I thought that was a little bit high. I know the game's in Knoxville and Florida's rebuilding, but I thought that was a tad bit high. I would have had it around 2.5 or so.
Yeah, you always say 2.5 to 3 is kind of what the home team gets at home, and so that's kind of where I expected it as well. Obviously, still, and especially Florida. I mean, where does Florida's offensive line go? Offensive line get better at receiver? Are they better at receiver this year going forwardly? Do they have enough depth to be good? There's a lot of questions, and for a lot about Florida after Utah and Kentucky week 1 and 2. But I did think it was a little bigger. We always know that game's a good football game, and it's a good rivalry game. So it'll be interesting to see how Heupel has his guys and how Billy Napier has his guys at that week.
Andrew, last thing, biggest concern on Florida's football team is what?
Depth, quality depth. Obviously, but are they SEC quality bodies? Dan Mullen was a awful, brought in a lot of guys that were, just okay football SEC guys. And that's going to be a big concern for Florida. You look at they're going to go Derek Wingo, Ventrell Miller, DeJuan Black, but then they're going to go with freshmen, go to defensive back. They're going to be relying on freshmen. You go to the offensive line, 5. It's going to be guys who haven't played. At receiver as well there. So all around, it's a depth issue. I hit on Anthony Richardson. Did something happens to him, and you're a depth position where you don't have very much depth, quality depth. So depth would be my biggest thing, and that's something Billy Napier and his guys are being disciplined. That they have to be disciplined.
Andrew Spivey of Gator Country, we will follow your work, and you can follow him at Andrew Spivey, SPIVEY GC, at Andrew Spivey GC for Gator Country. So, Andrew, I appreciate the time. Look forward to it. Stay cool down there in the Sunshine State.
Same.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Boy, I would not want to be in Gainesville at this very moment. There's something about Gainesville and Orlando when you're in Florida that you don't get any of that beach breeze, and it's just hotter than 5 darnets. It's miserable. I can remember sitting in the parade they have each night at Disney, and it being 94 degrees and the sun's down and the humidity's high, and watch my kids have a great time sitting on the curb at Disney Street or whatever they call it, thinking, might be the most miserable I've ever been in my life, because it was like gross sweat, that icky sweat.
Yeah, where you walk out and you're immediately just soaking wet, but it's your own sweat because it's just released.
And to me, it's like I could take my fingernails and rub them across my face and almost feel like there was grease there, like it was that type of humidity.
Ew. I was actually in a Disney parade in Orlando for the Thanksgiving parade. I was a cheerleader in it.
Well, you were a full-scale cheerleader. You were no mini.
Thank you.
Vile
That's a fat joke.
Yeah, that's pretty good, wasn't it? No, that wasn't a fat joke at all. It was
a fat joke.
No, it was. I meant that you were a full-scale. You were a big part of it. You weren't just Minnie floating around. Minnie doesn't say anything. Mickey's the star. I was taking a shot at Minnie.
Hurts.
think you look fantastic. All right, Viles Automotive Group. They've got integrity car shopping made easy. They've got selection, and they've got auto financing right there, and they keep you going with car service and repair work. That is Viles Automotive Group right there on Callahan, and you will love them. Zool Beer Company, Amanda, is somebody we need to give a special shout out to, the official craft beer of offthehooksports.com. We love Zool Beer Company. They bring us Josh Ward, and they win all kinds of awards, worldwide awards, and a great panoramic view of downtown. So Josh and I visited quickly, and you can check this out on our YouTube page or offthehooksports.com. Just go to offthehooksports.com. It's right there on the right-hand side, and you can see all of the podcasts we have, and goodness knows there's a lot. So here is one Josh Ward as we talk about the scrimmage at Tennessee held yesterday, brought to you by Zool Beer Company. Battle or position are you most intrigued by, Josh?
Well, I think left tackle is just a big unknown, and I think it will be a pretty big unknown on September 1st, and it might be an unknown for a few games. It's a battle between J.J. Crawford and Gerald Mincey. It's very important because it's the left tackle, and you have to protect Hendon Hooker. And I don't know how it's going to play out long term. My guess is that J.J. Crawford is Tennessee's starter in the opener, but I would also guess that we probably see both players. So that's, to me, easily the most important position battle. You have other spots on offense at wide receiver, guys that are competing to either be a starter or for playing time in the rotation at wide receiver. You have guys competing at corner. That competition is actually, it's being held off a little bit because Kamal Haddon's been out for several days now, and he has a good chance to be a starter, but he's not practicing right now and could have used the scrimmage time. But you're going to see a lot of guys out there probably over the course of the season. Tackle is the one where you want to find who your starting left tackle is, and you need that player to play at a high level.
Is there any chance the Vols are mishandling that situation? I want to ask Josh that question. First, remind you, Zool Beer. Downtown Knoxville has the panoramic view of the city. You're going to love hanging out there, but you're going to love the award-winning beer as well. Go to ZoolBeer.com to learn more. ZoolBeer.com, the official craft beer of Off the Hook Sports. Josh, in terms of the way they're handling this tackle position, so old school would be plug the guy in who's played left tackle the year before, which is Darnell Wright. It's your best player. Plug him in at left tackle and figure out the right tackle thing. But they're not going to do that. They are going to play Darnell Wright on the right side and left tackle. So just in terms of the whole concept philosophically behind that, it's weird to me. I've heard some coaches say that in this particular offense, pass protection is not that much different as far as your footwork. I have trouble believing that. It's kind of like when Dave Clawson told me it was okay to flip-flop your offensive line. In the very first press conference, I was like, that doesn't sound right. So, but we'll see. It seems weird to me, but it may work out great. And goodness knows, except for naming the wrong starting quarterback last year, what has this coaching staff done wrong? Not a lot. So I think they deserve the benefit of the doubt. So today's tough question. I can play the element again if you want me to.
No, we're good.
You're good without the element?
I think it should just be one time. It's a one-time thing. We don't need to.
But I worked really hard on that.
Okay, play the element.
I'm not going to play the element. All right. So Justin said, how about Blue Chips, Days of Thunder, White Men Can't Jump, The Sandlot, Happy Gilmore, Moneyball? Justin and I need to watch movies together. Love Blue Chips. Love Days of Thunder. Love White Men Can't Jump. Thought The Sandlot was the most overrated sports movie of all time. Justin, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Those are fighting words.
I know. And I've watched it 3 times to try to win myself over. I can't explain it.
Fighting words.
So you're a big Sandlot gal?
I'm not saying I'm a big Sandlot gal, but those are fighting words for a lot of people. Sandlot is like a cult classic for a lot of people.
It's almost like right there between a cult classic and a mainstream classic. So people are very passionate about it, but a lot of people are passionate about it. So trust me, I get ripped a lot on that one. Justin said it's a coming of age story. Well, I understand the concept, Justin.
Well,
Thank you very much. It is.
He's right.
All right. So today's tough question. I know you've already got it on the Twitter machine. What are we going with? I do hope you included White Men Can't Jump.
I didn't. I did 4. I'm sorry.
It's my fault. It's my fault. I had an opportunity to insert my opinion, and I chose not.
I did 4, and it's not the best 4, but it's just there's so many of them. It's difficult. So I did Field of Dreams, Rudy, Remember the Titans, and Moneyball.
Okay, out of that group, I will go Field of Dreams, since for me it's not close. The scene at the end with the dad, and I get sucked in. It's a story about faith, and you watch it, and then the scene at the end with the dad always makes me tear up. And so, to me, out of those 4, it definitely repeat those again for those listening, because for me it's Field of Dreams.
So it's Field of Dreams, Rudy, Remember the Titans, and Moneyball. I personally like Draft Day. So it's if you haven't seen Draft Day, just go see Draft Day, or you can't go see it, but rent it or stream it or whatever. It's worth it. Like it will hype you up for the NFL draft. It really will.
Yeah, I'll just run down to Blockbuster and pick me up a copy. Are you old enough to remember doing that, standing in front of the Blockbuster aisles for hours on end trying to pick your movie, because you could only get 2 or 3, and you could only have them for 24 and a half hours or something? It was so awkward compared to what we're used to now.
I know, and then you had to rewind it, because if you
didn't rewind, you got charged.
Your parents were so mad. But yeah, I was really young when that happened, but I remember one movie got released or something, and we raced to the Blockbuster to get it, and it would have the box in front of it, but then you'd move the box and it was gone, and the whole row was just these random boxes, and there's nothing in there.
Nice line by Orange Blood. Draft Day is definitely fiction, because it's the only way the Browns will have a good draft.
Yeah, that's why it's so good, though. All the best stories are the ones that are fictional for the most part. So that's why it's so good.
Hey, I know you have strong feelings on the Deshaun Watson thing, but just as a whole, I just want to ask you this: who looks worse in the way this has been handled? Deshaun Watson? Is it Jimmy Haslam? Is it the NFL? Or is it the public for jumping to conclusions? If I give you those 4, who's most culpable?
Can I put a 5th one in there?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's the NFL, but Roger Goodell has handled this terribly.
Right. This should have been a one-day news story. Well, not
done and over.
Yeah, the conclusion should have been a one-day news story. Obviously, it's going to drag on with settling lawsuits, but the conclusion should have been done. We should.
Yeah, apparently it started with one person who sued Deshaun. It was one individual and was willing to settle out of court, and Deshaun said, "No, I'm not giving you a dime. I didn't do this." And then it went from that to
Yeah, well, that may well be the case. I just think the NFL, as good as they are at PR, just blows me away how they didn't handle this better. And then Justin said I can watch the last 4 minutes of Rudy and it makes me cry. Maybe sometime we'll have Rudy Rudiger on the program, because that way we don't even have to talk. Like if it's a day where we're having a sore throat, you can just ask one question. He'll just go for the rest of the time. He'll fill up 90 minutes.
Have you met him?
Yes, several times.
Oh.
Yes, and he can fill up an hour pretty quickly. So where do we lead? What leads right now in the top movie?
So at the moment, we are tied for Rudy and Remember the Titans 50-50.
Rudy's pretty good. The whole jersey thing laying it on the desk was a little bit over the top. By the way, there's preseason football this weekend. So where do you need to be? Big Orange Phillies. How about Big Orange Phillies? right there in downtown Halls on Maynardville Pike. It's easy to get to from Maynardville. It's easy to get to anywhere in North Knoxville. Big Orange Phillies. It is family friendly, and it is full of entertainment, billiards, darts, karaoke, and cornhole, and they've got it all right there. What do you think you could beat me worst at? Billiards, cornhole, or darts? If we did a trio of those three, would you win 0, 1, 2, or 3?
I'd win at least 2.
Whoa.
I used to work in a pool hall, so
I would hustle you. You'd be buying me like the double meat Big Orange Philly right there at Big Orange Phillies. That's yeah, because I'm just okay, I'll be honest. I'm really horrible at pool. I'm really horrible at billiards because my dad is left-handed. I learned to shoot left-handed, which is I'm right-handed. So it's like,
yeah, that did work.
it's the one thing I do left-handed, and I can't do anything with my left hand. I can't brush my teeth. I can't do anything with my left hand except shoot pool. So it is really ugly. There is, though, that what I call the 2 to 4 beer amount in there. That if you get 2 to 4, I'm pretty good. From 2 to 4, and then after 4, I go downhill pretty quickly. So,
yeah.
But anyway, so coming up on the program, we are going to hear from Jacob Warren as he talks a little bit of Bru McCoy. And again, if you want to reset today's tough question, what is that again?
What is the best sports movie of all time? You have Field of Dreams, Rudy, Remember the Titans, and Moneyball.
I'm going to say something crazy.
Okay.
I like King Richard better than all those movies.
Wow.
Now, if you throw Rocky or Rocky 2 into the mix, then King Richard's a distant third.
I left Rocky out just because I figured that would just be like, oh.
Isn't it weird how there are never good sequels in movies, yet the 2 greatest movies, in my opinion, of the 70s, the sequel was better than the original, The Godfather and Rocky? Give you something to think about during this 2-minute break. Don't know why that popped into my head, but have you ever thought about that? Rocky 2's better. He wins.
I didn't watch Rocky or Rocky 2.
Pretend that didn't happen. Can we get together? Like, get the families together and watch some Rocky? I feel like
I don't.
That.
It's just the blood and the punching. It just
well, the first 2, especially the first one, are especially gory. So you would probably not like that. But it was a staunch reminder of what these guys put their bodies through. So coming up, it'll be Jacob Warren. We'll talk about Bru McCoy, the latest on if that receiver will be eligible for Tennessee. And Amanda, we're getting to the point where this is getting kind of serious because of the Thursday night game. So they'll have another scrimmage on Sunday, and then suddenly you're getting pretty close to game week. So you have to know if Bru McCoy is able to play a week before the Thursday night opener. I mean, you've got to put him in the game plan. You've got to know. So, yeah, I think Josh Heupel is a young coach. It doesn't want to say, hey, NCAA, get off your rear and do something about it. But more established coaches like Nick Saban probably would, whether it would be private or I know Philip Fulmer used to, at some point in camp, 3 weeks deep, he would probably say something public, and then something usually got done because the NCAA is absolutely lazy. Back in 2 minutes with Jacob Warren and also Message Board Bingo, a game that I dominate like no other and a game that makes Amanda dance. Can you do the dance again as we go to break? Perfect. You gotta check us out on YouTube. For those listening, we appreciate that as well. Back in 2 minutes.
It's Gary Viles here, Viles Automotive on Callahan Drive. I've been selling cars here in East Tennessee for 27 years. In that time, I've come to realize it's not about the car. It's about you, the customer. So I'm here to take care of you just like family. Good credit, bad credit, you name it, we can get you taken care of. If we don't have it, we can find it for you. We go across the country to get any vehicle that you want. And here at Viles Automotive, we don't believe in fake numbers. We just give you great deals. And as always, we want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassy Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassy, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassy's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassy Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
This is Steve Rain. I own the Midnight Oil and Michelin Tire Direct service station here in Ottawa. It's not a fancy place, never has been, but it's a clean place with clean restrooms and good folks who work here. We sell gas and fix cars, nothing glamorous, but we love what we do and we're going to keep doing it for a long time to come. There's not many real service stations left, and that's a shame. We're the guys just like the guys back in your hometown. We'll fix your tire, change your oil, and put a new set of Michelins on your car. If you want a Twinkie, you'll just have to keep on going. Thanks for the business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
All right, with Amanda LaFratta, I'm Dave Hooker. It is time for the award-winning segment that is sweeping the nation. It's unbelievable. It's message board bingo. Can you tell us where or what fan base made these message board posts? So how challenging are they today, Amanda? Scale of 1 to 10. How challenging are they?
They are not that bad.
They're not that bad. You think I'll get them? I sent you one. Now, don't use any that I send. I just thought it was funny.
It is funny, but no, they're like a 4, maybe.
Okay. So, am I allowed to do this in my Regis voice? Regis Philbin?
If you must.
You don't like the Regis voice at all?
They all sound the same.
It's very hurtful.
Do you want me to read mine in my Wisconsin voice?
I'll do Regis Philbin, who I think is from Wisconsin, right? No, I think he's from New York City. But you can do yours in your Wisconsin voice. All right, go ahead and start with message board bingo, and let's see if I can guess the fanatic fan base that just has crazy things to say about their team and other teams as well. Message board bingo brought to you today by our friends at Owl's Nest Barbecue. Owl's Nest Barbecue has it all right there. Owl's Nest Barbecue has the wood pellets. They have the chips. They have everything you need. The smoking pellets. They've got the grills. They've got the sauces, and they got the rub. It's Owl's Nest Barbecue right next to Steve Ray's Midnight Oil, which will take care of your car. All right, message board bingo. Here we go. I'm excited. Let's do this, Amanda. This only happens once a day.
Yeah, I got to do my Wisconsin accent.
Gosh.
Okay. Yeah, this is what I live with. So I'm beginning to think that, yes, he is. The more I read about a canine in practice.
You can't do that. You can't do it. David doesn't sound like that, and you can't do that.
He does.
Maybe
if you ever,
but it's unique.
If you watch him with like a Green Bay game on, it is throw the flag, Rodgers. That is like David. Yeah,
well,
he's great.
You guys come. We'll make that happen. You come to the house, and Shanda will. She cooks incredible chicken wings. They're unbelievable. The only
I'm
place
down for it.
Orange Phillies, but don't tell her I said so. And okay, so read this first one. I'm excited.
I'm beginning to think that yes, he is. The more I read about a canine at practice, the more concerned I get about our games. Supposedly we have this pro mindset, but I doubt a pro team that is a winner has a dog at practice.
That's a dog. Smokey's birthday was 2 days ago. I've never seen Smokey at a practice.
No.
Oh gosh, Amanda, this is really so. It has to be somebody that has a dog as a mascot, right? Okay, so you know Kirby Smart's not going to allow a bulldog. Gosh,
Really?
I'm really struggling. I'm going to go Mike Leach.
It's Ole Miss.
Oh,
Kiffin's dog.
oh yeah, he has a Twitter for his dog, doesn't he?
Yes. My Lord.
Oh, for 1, I'm ashamed of myself. All right.
I'm ashamed of you.
Let's see if I can get to 1 or 2. I believe in myself. Message board bingo continues now.
All right. So I say hire him. Who knows what kind of blank he's got on OU. Plus, he's a very good recruiter with an established network and an overlapping recruiting region.
Can I stop you for 1 second? They're already ready to get rid of Brent Venables, and it's the middle of August. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let OU's mistake be our gain.
I'm going to say that somebody that hates Oklahoma and wants to hire Lane Kiffin for some reason.
What? Why would they want to hire Lane Kiffin?
Because he's an offensive coach, and they like offense at Oklahoma. And it wouldn't be Oklahoma State because they got the mullet Mike Gundy there. So who would it be that would want to hire an offensive mind? I'm going to go. I think this is a very solid pick. I'm going to go with Iowa State.
It is Oklahoma State.
It is Oklahoma State. They've got Mike Gundy.
They want Kale.
Kale, yeah.
Yep. Apparently, they want Kale.
Okay. So I'm going to have a losing record. I'm the Jeremy Pruitt of Message Board Bingo.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get the final one out of the way so I can stop embarrassing myself.
Okay. But don't think for a second, if the Big Ten opens up a permanent revenue gap on the SEC, that a certain school in Austin, Texas wouldn't hesitate to abandon a conference that many of its alums are ambivalent about to join one that has more academic peers. And if that happens, anyone is in play. That one's a hard one. Sorry.
I was like, am I stupid?
That one's a hard one.
I was trying to narrow it down by region of the country.
Maybe let's try a different one because that one was difficult.
That one is so hard.
That one was very difficult. Okay, so let's try this one. That was Michigan.
I got to restart the team. That was Michigan. Okay,
Yeah.
Restart. I would have never. You could give me 100 picks, and I would have been like 101 Michigan. All right, let's go with another one to see if I get one correct.
It's really no surprise at all if you think about it. It's spelled Collusion. Texas, Oklahoma, yes, Alabama, and LSU all are the big U of their state with little competition, are working together to weaken our recruiting edge from last year. They've enlisted their friends in the media to tout the same exact talking point day after day.
So this is somebody that's jealous of those big-time programs, right?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. And I'm going to say it's somewhere in mid-America, which now we call the Southeast because the SEC expansion is Texas and Oklahoma. So I will take, actually, Oklahoma State again.
Wait, can I give you a hint?
I would love it.
Okay. So we celebrated a special day.
Run over a squirrel for a hint.
Wow. In August, we celebrated a special day for this school.
Okay.
I actually saw a squirrel growl at a bird. But anyway, continue.
It's awesome. By the way,
It was great.
Did anybody catch this about the squirrel White when he visited with the media earlier this week? He said, so these squirrels got, you know the story, got after his great grandmother's tomatoes. So he said, I would always move as a baby when the squirrels would move. So she called me Squirrel. Well, why did he move? I thought about it. Like, why would he move when the squirrels move? Because she's screaming at the squirrels while she's holding the baby. Think about it. That's the only way that it makes sense. Get away from my tomato, squirrel. I get that. Does that not make sense? I don't know that it's true, but it makes sense.
I think you'll have to ask him.
Oh, well, I will. And then the baby and the squirrel jump. Yeah, that's not good. Nobody wants that. You know what that needs? Needs to chill out. Needs to chill out with some Craft Treats. Craft Treats has the minor cannabinoids that absolutely increase the benefits of CBD, whether it's squirrel ride anxiety or storm squirrel anxiety or any sort of squirrel anxiety. No, it's for your pets.
Squirrel ride? What's a squirrel ride?
I don't know. If like a squirrel is riding in the car, he gets all anxious and nervous.
Oh, I thought you were like somebody's riding a squirrel, and I was like, this is very odd.
No, go to Craft Treats. Must be a small person. Must be, I don't know.
Ant-Man.
Like a jockey. Could be a jockey riding a squirrel. Probably not. Craft Treats. Go to crafttreats.com and they will take care of your pet. And my pet actually is having more Craft Treats because I hate to say this, and I know it'll make you sad because you love pets. Getting a little bit older. Been eating the treats with the kids in town for the summer, getting a little fatter. And he had his first.
Aren't we all?
Yes, aren't we all? He had his first error on the bed beam. So like he was trying to jump on the bed and he didn't quite make it and went right back down. That was the first time. And that was incredibly sad. And so now we lift him onto the bed. And I guess we'll give him those little bed stairs.
Get a ramp.
I'm not getting a ramp. Start to use a curse word. I'm not getting a ramp for that. If he can't get up there, it's his own fault. Take better care of yourself. Do some dog squats.
Dog squats?
Yes. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. That's what Kanye West rapped about.
Not dog squats.
Not dog squats?
Might have been some kind of dog something in there, but it wasn't squats.
Some dog something. All right. So how did I do in message board bingo? I think I was 3-0.
No, you haven't like chosen the last one.
Oh. Give it to me again. One more time.
All right. So I'm just going to let you know, hopefully that after your brain just reset, you might get it. We celebrated a day in August for this specific team. It's really no surprise at all if you think about it. It's spelled COLLUSION. Texas, OU, Alabama, and LSU all are the big U of their state competition. Hold on. Are working together to weaken our recruiting edge from last year. They have enlisted their friends in the media to tout the same exact talking point day after day.
Oh, it's A&M.
Hey, there you go.
Great class last year. You know, that class, that class may be one of the most transformative in the history of college football. Because I don't
go far.
Well, work with me here for just a second. Okay. Not what it'll do on the field, but the fact that I think Texas and Oklahoma felt pressure to follow suit with A&M and go to the SEC because they saw what you're able to recruit to in the SEC. There are a lot of kids that come out of Texas that want to play in the SEC throughout the years. When I covered recruiting closely, they wanted to play in the SEC. So now you get the best of both worlds. So that was a pretty tough recruiting battle for Texas against A&M. And it's really weird to me too. Amanda, you're younger than me. How do you view Texas A&M and Texas? As peers? One's greater than the other? Because I can tell you 20 years ago that if you would have said Texas A&M is even in the ballpark of Texas, you would have been laughed out of the room.
Yeah,
But now
I feel like it's similar to Michigan State. You remember, like, Michigan was like the dog, and then one time they decided that they were going to say that Michigan State was their little brother, and they have not been able to live that one down in quite a while when Michigan State's been like stomping that, up and down the field. So that Texas A&M is very similar to me as Michigan and Michigan State.
Will Bru McCoy be eligible, the receiver that transferred from Southern California? If so, then Tennessee has one of the most athletic, explosive duos of receivers in the entire nation, not just the SEC. Now, Bru McCoy comes in with some baggage. He wasn't charged with any crime, but there was allegations of some sort of abuse or assault, but nothing came of that. But he did transfer to Texas and then back to Southern Cal, now to Tennessee. So 3 transfers in a little more than a year is odd. So there's some baggage there. There's no guarantee he'll be eligible. I think he will. But I was just curious to ask Jacob Warren, who you can hear on offthehooksports.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get these podcasts on a daily basis. I was just curious, what's this Bru McCoy kid like? And this is what Jacob had to say. Now transferring is so normal and such a part of it that you really expect those guys to step in and have an impact from day one. In particular with Bru, I mean, you've been around him since he's on your side of the ball. I think transferring 3 times back to Texas, back to Southern Cal, now to Tennessee, I think concerns some Tennessee fans. But what are your impressions of him as a person, as a teammate, as an individual?
Yeah, obviously, I don't know how to say this. I guess without knowing someone's character and just kind of background and their situation and knowing a lot of the details about, things that go on and what happens, it's easy to be like, oh, so, like you said earlier, like, oh, something's wrong with this kid. Obviously, he can't stick anywhere. He's gotten, pushed out of every place he's been, whatever. But once you actually sit down and get to know the guys and get to know them, like I said, on a deeper level, it doesn't really matter to me why he transferred or what the reason was, or you know what I mean? He's here and he's always treated me with respect and has just been a great person to be around. He's part of kind of a little bit of our little group that we hang out with outside of football, and he's around quite a bit, and I've got to know him pretty well. And like I said, I mean, it's just another guy, just another guy on the team at this point.
Just another guy on the team that happens to be one of the top receiver prospects of his class. That is 6'4", maybe even 6'5", based off some conversations I've had with some people, maybe even more talented than Cedric Tillman. But other than that,
calm down.
Well, some people think he may be more talented. We'll see. That all plays itself out. But some people think.
I don't think it should be a competition between him and Cedric. I mean, Cedric is all ball. He's been, here working with Hendon, and then somebody else comes in and it's like, oh, is he better than? No, just like, let's keep them in separate tabs. You know what I'm saying?
I'm fine with that.
But I don't think that Tennessee, with Josh Heupel, I think he's being very careful around the NCAA right now, because at this moment, the NCAA still has the power to come down on Tennessee with the whole Pruitt scandal. So yeah. I don't mind Josh Heupel not ruffling feathers as far as Bru McCoy is concerned.
No, I got no problem with that whatsoever. It's time for This Day in Sports History. This Day in Sports History, we take a look back at, well, what happened this day in sports history? How hard is that? Not difficult.
This Day in Sports History, putting things in perspective, exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker.
You're so old. When you were a kid, rainbows were black and white.
And Amanda LaFratta.
New kids on the block just called. I wanted you as a backup dancer.
All right, Amanda, what do you got this day in sports history?
All right, we're going back to 1984 when the U.S. beats Spain to win the men's basketball gold medal at the Los Angeles Olympics. Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan were the stars of that team.
Oh, wow. we talk about the dream team, and rightly so, but that was a pretty darn good team there too.
Yep.
Now it was 88 that they lost, right? And that's what put the team together. I'm wanting to say. Anyway, I shouldn't speculate on the live broadcast, but I just did. All right, what else happened in this day in sports history?
That's on you. No, I give you one.
Oh, so you got one for me?
I mean, I have a lot, but I was going to let you go.
No, this is all you.
Okay, so in 1997, I have a couple of 1997 ones. The Anaheim Angels' Tony Phillips was arrested for purchasing cocaine. He just wanted to have a good time.
Just random shot. Poor Tony is. If he's still with us, is sitting somewhere going, I wonder if somebody in Tennessee's taking a random this day in sports history shot at me, which we are.
And then in the same day in 97, so one guy's low point is another guy's high point because Atlanta Braves.
It was pretty high.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Atlanta Braves signed Greg Maddox to then a record 5-year, $57.5 million deal, which is insane to think of that now.
Insane,
like that was a record setting.
Yeah.
And that set records. Yeah.
So it was soon after that A-Rod, I believe, got the $250 million contract from the Rangers, and then everything went awry. I read one story that everything you need to know about A-Rod was in this one story, and that was he didn't care if he was the highest paid baseball player. He wanted to be the highest paid professional athlete, so he wanted to make sure his contract was $1 more than Kevin Garnett at Minnesota. Does that not tell you how petty
It's so stupid.
A-Rod is? Is that not just
It's so dumb? I wish I had that much money to worry about. Yeah, you know what? I need $1 more just so I can be the highest paid athlete in the world. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about go get yours, but
You got yours. You got yours.
yeah, if you made
Come on.
$1 less, it's still $250 million.
You got yours. Keep it going.
Yeah, pay it forward. Is what the kids like to call it?
Pay it forward is more like buy the person behind you in the Starbucks line, or not Starbucks, but you know what I'm saying. They use Starbucks as an example. Buy the person behind you in the Jimmy John's line sandwich or something. That's the pay it forward thought anyway.
Does anybody ever? Do you ever do that? The pay it forward?
I do it, but I do it in a different way. Like I do it. I'll give you an example, and I'm not going to name names or anything, but a friend of mine, she has been struggling as of late. She battled cancer, went through all of this stuff, but she's beat it, and she's been struggling as of late. And so she is a very proud and independent lady, and she finally just like kind of broke down and said, look, I need help. I've been trying, I've been getting by, but it's not looking good. I can't get a job because of everything I've gone through. And she's constantly looking for jobs and stuff. And so she was just like, I'm sorry to have to ask anybody, but if you had any kind of anything, you could throw it my way, stuff like that. And so David and I discussed it, and we did something like that because we think that people need, you need to take care of everybody.
Let's talk off the air and see what else we can do. Okay. I want to help.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, I would love to do that. So yeah,
she's a great person. So
yeah, we'll find a way to do something. We've got a member of our work family whose daughter is in a battle. He's been very public with on social media. So, and we want to do everything we can to support them. I mean, cancer's horrible enough when you're in your 60s or 70s. But goodness gracious, having it as a young person, I guess we were in our mid 30s. This would have been around 2015, so I guess late 30s, and right at 40. And she was second, I believe, in most attractive in our class. And not that matters, but she had that glowing sort of personality that went along with being good looking. It wasn't just that she was good looking. And sure enough, she got it. And the first thing you think is, oh, they're going to beat that. They beat that every time. They don't. And she passed away before 40 years old. And it was just heart-wrenching. And I think about her every day, because when we share our content to different Facebook groups, we still have the Love for Gina Facebook groups that we built. And I see it every day. And if it doesn't make you thankful for what you have, then man, there's plenty of reasons to be thankful. There's plenty of people that are going through a lot more than we are. All right. So tomorrow on the program, we're going to have more from the Vols. Also, I think we'll start to take a little bit of a look at Georgia as well. We'll take a look at the Bulldogs. So a lot going on the program tomorrow. So new time, remember this, 8:30, and be sure and hit that subscribe button. And another thing I want to be sure and mention, turn the notifications on, okay? Because I get notifications now. I'm learning this whole YouTube thing. 4 months ago, I didn't know if it was just a letter or if it was spelled out Y-O-U. But now I got it. So I set my notifications on for the ones I like. So if you like us, more importantly, Amanda, because you probably don't like me. A lot of people don't like me.
That's false.
No, what about so somebody, if I may say so real quick, somebody got on to Amanda about something on a message board. Doesn't matter, but she's going to be popular, and that's going to happen. But then the one I sent you last night, how much did I get ripped?
Wow.
Scorched earth. Was that not?
5 pages of ripped. Like, good night. I was like, okay, I don't feel so bad about the one guy that said I was annoying. So, okay, thank you.
I mean, it just kept going. And I sent it to you in hopes of making you feel a little bit better. And then I read it and it kind of brought me down. So
Don't do that. How many days until Tennessee football starts?
It would be 22, correct?
Well, Walt's on me about doing the countdown. So.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, actually, I meant to do that. Who wore the number 22? Do you care to guess? There was
my cousin.
Doesn't count. So did Emmitt Smith.
Okay.
Doesn't count.
All right.
So you should know this guy. Super fast. He was a
Alvin Kamara? No, he didn't wear 22.
A little older than that. He played for the Dallas Cowboys, played for the Giants, played football at Tennessee. He was a sprinter.
Why would I know that?
He wore number 22 because he was from Alabama, and Alabama did not recruit him. And he wore number 22, Richmond Flowers. Richmond Flowers. So those a little bit older than you would know who he was. He's from Dothan, Alabama. He's 75 years old now, but he went in the second round. Yeah, so we're in the second round of the 69 NFL draft. But he was the son of Richmond Flowers Sr., which was an anti-segregationist who served a tumultuous term as Alabama's attorney general. So this guy's family was in the thick of segregation.
Is that what that movie is based off of?
King Richard?
No, not King Richard. The movie about the lawyer. I think it's Alabama, and he was like in the middle of all of that. He was one of the first like black lawyers in Alabama or something like that. Deep South, I can't remember what it was.
Richmond was white, and his
dad
was white, but it's definitely movie worthy if you read Into Richmond Flowers. He's one of the all-time favorite Tennessee players and one that slipped away from Alabama, but just an incredible sprinter and just incredible speed and played in the league. And he wore that.
When did he go?
When did he get drafted?
Well, yeah, whatever. When was he in college?
He got drafted in 69, so he was.
So he could have played for Coach Bryant, and he didn't.
Oh, I don't think Alabama offered him.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
I mean, that's what I've been told. Like, goodness gracious, I'm not that old. I didn't cover it that long ago, but I've been told that he didn't get serious interest by Alabama. So
that's sad.
Well, and also I want to say that somebody told me once that he kind of wanted to get away from Alabama too because his family had been at the center of that for so long.
That's fair.
And Tennessee doesn't get enough credit for being one of the most open-minded schools, not only in the SEC of the nation. They had the first African-American college football player. They had the first African-American quarterback in the SEC, which is Condridge Holloway. They've broken a lot more barriers than people give them credit for. So, nevertheless,
Alabama had the first African American player.
We'll check on that and get back to you at 8:30 in the morning. We'll talk to you then. Be sure and subscribe and listen and set your notifications on. She's Amanda LaFratta. I'm Dave Hooker. This has been a production of Off the Hook Sports. Have a fantastic day, night, morning. Gosh, I sound like Tom Hanks in that show. Good evening, good morning. What's the name of that show?
I think that's the Truman Show, and that's not.
Good evening.
Not Tom Hanks.
Whenever you're listening, same difference. It's not Tom Hanks.
No, the Truman Show. That's
Gary. All right. Have
Jim
a fantastic day, everyone. She's Amanda LaFratta.